All right, so it's another topic that been going around. I guess you can call it a trending topic. It started on Gilbert Arenas podcast, Gils Arena, and they're asking the question: Is Steph Curry a generational talent? And Gilbert Arenas, he was saying no, but he was attributing that to his definition of a generational talent is more of the physical side of it.
Right.
But what's your thoughts? Is Steph Curry a generational talent?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that Steph is a generational talent. See, his ability changed the whole outlook of the game that we play today.
Right. That's a fact.
So, I mean, him just ushering in this 3-point era, like everybody trying to play like him from the smallest kid just starting in Pee Wee League to high school, college, everything. So
All the way to the pros.
and all the way to the pros.
That's a fact. Question: is there a difference between a generational talent and a generational player? Are they one and the same, or is it different?
But for me, they're one and the same. Because usually when those players come along, they change the game, and it's like really no difference of the differentiating the talent from the player.
Okay, I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, so whether it be a physical thing of either how your body makeup is, or your athleticism combined with your body makeup, or even just a skill trait, like, and I mean, obviously, skills can be practiced and learned and stuff like that. But some
Right.
people are just, they come in and they're so exceptional beyond anybody's, you know, thought capacity of where it could be. And that's why I say Steph is, because, I mean, they used to say that small jump shooting teams couldn't win a championship,
And they proved it wrong.
and they proved it wrong. And
Yeah.
now everybody wanna do that, and even to the point where the Boston Celtics now almost 50% of their shots is threes.
Yeah. They definitely a 3-point shooting team now.
Yeah, so all that came from Steph.
That's a fact. Steph my guy. So yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. Now, I mean, I agree with you saying about how I'm changing the game, but I kind of get where Gil coming from when he say, I guess for me, I'm kind of leaning towards the side that generational talent and generational player is different. Uh, Steph Curry changed the game,
Right.
but do we have expectations of that? Him coming into the league, like we like, yo, he coming into the league. They drafted him at this position because he gonna come in and he gonna be the greatest 3-point shooter ever. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas though I get where he's saying about the physical attributes being the generational thing because it's like, yo, we getting Wemby because he's 7'4" and can do the things he can do.
Right.
We getting LeBron James because he's only an 18-year-old kid, but he has the body of a grown man already. Like, so you can't duplicate that. We drafting Magic Johnson because, yo, this is before tall point guards was a thing. We
Yeah.
drafted him because, yo, he gonna run the point guard. This has never been done. So
Right.
I get where you're coming from with that. You can't duplicate.
Let me say something about Magic real quick. The coach, the original coach of their team, didn't even want to let him play point guard. It took
That's
for,
true. That's
it
true.
took for their second coach to really just buy in, because Magic was forcing the issue. He was like, dude, I'm a point guard. I'm not a power forward, because they was trying
Right.
to make him a power forward.
Right.
And he really pressed the issue. He's like, listen, I know usually only 6 foot tall dudes play point guard. I get it. That's the prototypical size.
Right.
But I got this. And
Right.
that's in his case, generational for him was being 6'9" and being able to have the passing skills of a point guard,
Right.
and really be the floor general.
Right. And then you started seeing that come like years after where play was, you start getting the Penny Hardaways. I feel like he was the next edition of the tall point guard.
Yeah.
And then you get LeBron James, like, you know what I mean? But he's that with the athleticism side to it too. That's what makes him a generational talent. Like,
Right. And I was even gonna say, I ain't mean to cut you off, but I was even gonna say it even gave the small forwards that idea of like, oh, I could really, like, not even if I'm not gonna be the point guard, I could really floor general, be the floor general for my team. That's where you got players like Scotty, you got Grant Hill, you got Jalen Rose, all those
Facts.
6'8" type players. Now they believe like, oh, I could play like a point guard, even though I'm a small forward.
Right. But back to the Steph Curry thing is he ain't coming with none of that. He ain't coming with like this freakish body, freakish athleticism. We had no idea that he was gonna be this good of a 3-point shooter. So it's like, I guess what Gil was saying was like he's separating natural gifts like that you born with from what you work on, your work ethic, and what you earn through your work ethic. And I guess I can kind of agree with that because like Kobe Bryant, he wasn't considered a generational talent, but I mean he's a generational athlete, like I guess you could say. And
I mean,
you know what's funny about Kobe? I just thought about this just now. Like,
go ahead.
the thing that make him a generational player is his mindset.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what makes him a generational player. Like, people across the world, all sports, even people that's not even in a world of sports, like people that's just going to school to like be a doctor. Yo, how you get through, man? I had to have that Mamba mentality. Like,
Right.
you get what I'm saying? Like, that's what makes him like a generational player. Like, he inspired a generation.
Okay.
Steph Curry changed a generation.
I could get that point.
You know what I'm saying? Iverson, he inspired a generation with his crossover, even like on and off the court. Happy belated birthday to Allen Iverson too.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah,
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, but he inspired a generation, but he ain't coming as this talent like, yo, you hands down gonna be something special because you stepping into the league as something we've never seen. Like, hence Wembanyama. Like,
right.
So I can kind of see like where Gil coming from with that.
And I understand the points.
Right.
I understand the points where he says that and how you just described it. I just on certain players I just disagree, like Kobe, and I disagree that he's a generational not player. That's true, but the talent,
right?
He just had, mostly above average in every way you think of a two guard.
Yeah,
but he ain't have that just outright different talent like that was MJ,
right?
When he came into the game, and Kobe, I mean, he is the way we think of him, like an MJ clone in a way. Yeah. But there's also other players that was like that too. Like Vince was like that. I mean, T-Mac in a way was kind of like that.
Right. I guess he did say something about Vince too. I guess he was saying like Vince Carter could be considered like a talent because of
I think Vince
freakish athleticism
may or may not be because of his athleticism. That one's hard for me. I'm not sure.
He like borderline.
Yeah.
Like right on
because
the fence.
Even though you might have a generational type talent, see, this is it for me. Even though you might have a generational type talent, because you just say talent versus player, we talking about talent, you might not realize that talent to its fullest potential. Like I don't think Vince played the best he really could have.
Yeah, that been a thing going around.
If he had Kobe work ethic,
that's what everybody been saying.
We'd be talking about Vince, like right there.
Yeah,
like like when we usually talk these things, we always talk about AI, T-Mac, and Kobe. They kind of was like at that.
Vince
if you want to call it two guards, Vince was in the mix, but we always talk about him after those three. You always be like Kobe, AI, and then you get down to T-Mac because T-Mac and Kobe was such rivals. And then we'll be like, okay, Vince. Then we'd be like Ray Allen. Then we'd be like Paul Pierce, even though he's more small forward, but still same thing kind of. But
out of everybody you just named, I will say that, and Vince wasn't nothing sweet at all.
Oh no, not at all.
But when you think about
the guards I named,
when you think about it, he probably had the least killer instinct out of them.
Oh yeah, out of that group,
you already know the top two was AI and Kobe. And T-Mac right there. Like it ain't like he falls short at all, but it just was like it was kind of different with AI and Kobe. Like just Kobe, like I said, mindset is just obsession and like AI ability to just
I mean those
keep
two
taking
generational players because of in Kobe's case the mindset and like AI's case his crossover making that a mainstream kind of thing like everybody wanted to have a crossover.
Even his like swag from back then made him a generational player. Like the arm sleeves, the braids, all that. Like
the whole style,
bringing the whole hip hop culture deep into
all that.
Basketball.
And all right, so I wanted to say like it's probably not as many generational just talents that we talking about just talent. Right. If you look over the course of history, like I mean, first one was probably Wilt, obviously.
Facts.
And then who's after Wilt, or is there somebody else in that same era? I guess.
Would you say Kareem? Because how dominant he was. Like, was there anything about Kareem?
See, that's where I don't think so. I mean, I think Kareem was just that's where a generational player, but I don't think his talent was something so spectacularly different from other big centers. You know what I'm saying? Other than the fact that he could hit that damn hook shot.
Because we still talk about Wilt today. Like, you could, like, yo, not only could Wilt play ball, like, yo, he was a track runner. He was,
play volleyball. He was a bodybuilder, weightlifter.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just was like, he could do so much. It just was like, yo, you was down there, put him anywhere. And
they was letting him play for they ain't let him play. He quit basketball because they wasn't paying him enough to go play for the Harlem Globetrotters as part of their joint.
Yeah, so
they don't like, they wasn't gonna let you play with them unless you could handle the ball and do all these kind of tricks and stuff.
Right, for what it was back then anyway.
Oh yeah, for back then, obviously. But what I'm saying is,
no, I get what you're saying though. Like,
he was different. Like you wouldn't see Bill Russell be able to go over there. Not like that. He's more fundamental basketball player.
And that's basically how LeBron is now. That's how they talk about LeBron. Like, yo, if LeBron was in the NFL, he'd be probably the best tight end. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what sport wouldn't he be able to dominate in just because of how physically gifted he is?
Yeah. So I think of Wilt and maybe Oscar.
I was thinking that, but I ain't sure. I mean, that's before my time, so I would have to go check that out to see.
Right.
Like,
but then
they basically say he was like Westbrook, like, you know what I mean? But I guess that would have been rare back then.
I mean, he was the only dude getting the triple double.
That's the one I heard about, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, being that small, being that explosive. Like,
you even think about how many assists per game he averaged. Like, being able scoring, I mean, yeah. And you might as well just say it all. Scoring, rebounding, assist at all three, to those levels. So, I don't know. I would have to study some film or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't really speak on it. I just know who he is, what he did, but I
know he was a taller point guard because he was 6'5". That probably was the first thing to lead the Magic. But Magic changed the game totally different because he was really a big man size.
6'8".
Yeah.
Right.
So I would say Wilt.
Straight to Magic.
Straight probably to Magic. Yeah. Straight to Magic.
Would you consider
probably even Larry Bird?
I don't know, but his passing ability, yeah, it's funny. I guess it's funny because he probably could have played a point guard. If he'd have played point guard, we'd be saying the same thing. But he played his position, forwards. But he just still was making plays. He still was a playmaker.
All right, so let's go Wilt, Magic.
Before we get out the 80s. Was Jordan considered a generational talent? Nah, I ain't gonna say he's a good generational talent. He still got the highest vertical ever from back then and all.
Yeah, I was gonna say MJ. I was gonna say MJ.
You gonna say MJ?
Yeah.
But I don't think the expectations was there. It just MJ was really a diamond in the rough. People was passing up on him.
No, but that's because they didn't realize what the talent could lead to.
Right.
When you look at the measurables of the talent, though,
it was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the athletics. Yeah.
And then think of things that, as Gilbert would say, can't be duplicated. Can't duplicate how high he could jump, plus the hand size and all that stuff, and the dexterity, agility in the air. I mean, players do that, but not to the same just extent of the way MJ was doing. You gotta actually watch so you can see.
I remember.
I'm just saying that for people who don't really watch.
Side note,
older basketball games.
Side note, because people always be like, "Oh, y'all talk about nostalgia. Nostalgia is earned."
True.
When you think about it, it's different. It's a reason why when you bring up something and I got a perfect example for that. Prime Derrick Rose. The nostalgia of Prime Derrick Rose. If you know, you know.
Exactly.
Right now, it was even a meme or a short going around, just it was some girl just was yo, if your man in the basketball, just run up on him and ask him about Prime Derrick Rose, and she did it. He was like, Prime Derrick Rose, what you don't know, but that's the nostalgia. But he earned that.
True.
It's different than you be like, yo, remember B.J. Armstrong? If you remember watching basketball, you remember, but it's just whatever. Right. It's like, yo, you remember with Jordan? It's just like, oh yeah, I remember. Like you earned that nostalgia. It ain't there for no reason. Like,
right.
But that's just a side note when people just be like, cause that be like the crux of somebody's argument. Like y'all just going off of nostalgia.
Right.
Well, the nostalgia is there for a reason.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so we got the MJ. We that's the 80s basically.
Oh no, I got one more for the 80s. And I was gonna say Charles Barkley. Think about being 6'5", almost 300-pound power forward.
But did that make him a generational talent or player?
Talent. But until we got Zion now, we ain't never had nobody built like that could jump like that and move like that. That was just given to him.
I give you that. I give you Barkley.
Yeah.
I give you Barkley.
Like I said, you don't necessarily always got to reach the potential of the talent. I mean, unless that was the ceiling. I mean, his ceiling was MVP and made it to the finals to have to go up against another generational talent.
He was him. Like, so, if you know, you know.
Yeah. You know who I might have forgot?
Hakeem is definitely a generational talent.
Yeah.
His footwork is still being trying to be duplicated to this day.
Yeah.
So you can get at the Hakeem for sure.
Right.
Being that big, but then being elusive like that, and
yeah,
still was an athlete too.
Right. Then my next one was Shaq.
Can't duplicate the Incredible Hulk. Like like that's just what it was.
Right. And then where we go after that?
Brian.
I guess.
Oh, hold up. Would you say Penny Hardaway a generational talent? Of like what could have been?
That one's tough.
Because he was basically the next like good tall point guard, but he had the athleticism.
Yeah, he had the athleticism.
The handle had different handles, but it was more modern for that time. Like
right.
If we seen him play more, we would put him in there.
Yeah. That one was cut off too short to even bring it to its fullest fruition. Like,
because we already knew where I was going next. Grant Hill, see if he was one too, because he was like the first small forward that I know of. Like that's why he had the hype around him, like basically like breaking you down on the wing, getting downhill, like with the crossover. Like I can't really think of nobody else like that was doing it like that. Like
nah, they had guys before that.
Okay,
they wasn't as much playmakers as Grant Hill was, but they had guys that was like that.
Right. Because that's what he was known for.
Because you got to think about scorers. Scorers always kind of existed that was like that. If he had something kind of other crazy thing about him, like, I don't know, his hops, if he had like a 46, 48 inch vertical.
They always talk about that bop crossover he had. Though,
oh, yeah. That was nice.
Like,
yeah, but everybody with a nice move, everybody with a nice move ain't necessarily
true.
That's
a fact. True.
Yeah. So what we at? Shaq. I guess the next one is probably Brian.
Brian is definitely a generational talent.
And then KD.
The first unicorn.
And then Steph. And then what? Giannis.
But Giannis transformed into that. He came in looking like KD. Like he was, you feel what I'm saying? Like,
right.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you gotta work your way into your greatness, like
but you know, talent is just there. You always gotta groom the talent.
Right. But like you can get a kid right now and be like, yo, I'm gonna train you to be the next Steph Curry. We gonna work on these shots and all. And you might fall short. You know what I'm saying? You can actually try to duplicate that. How do you try to duplicate LeBron James? You just can't say, yo, I'm gonna make you 6'8", built like Karl Malone, and strong as an ox, but you're gonna be fast as the fastest point guards out here.
Right. And
with court vision. Like
now that you brought that up, this is why I said Giannis. Think about him, his body build, him and KD. How it's two totally different things. But if you go on the joint like Basketball Reference or something or NBA.com, you'll look at a joint and it'll say either 6'11" or 7 foot, 240 pounds. Two dudes, both same height, same weight. They both look long, lanky. Pause.
Yeah.
They both look like they the same, but you could tell when they stand next to each other, the body's totally different.
Yeah.
Giannis is like a LeBron, like young Bron. He's ripped up, shredded.
But Bron came in like that. They said Bron. This is the difference. Nobody said, "Yo, this kid's so like physically fit. He could probably play in the league at 15." They were saying that about LeBron James. Yo, this kid is so built that at 15 years old, I think he can make an NBA roster.
I get that. But
that's different than having let me spend the next, because like his transformation came over years of him working out and all that. Then you look up 4 or 5 years later, it's like, he looking like Superman out there. But he had to earn that. That wasn't just like, we drafting you because you already that. you all right, this is what we already expected from you.
I get what you're saying there. So maybe not. I don't know.
Because if he go a different route, what if he just be like, I'm gonna just be like Katie, I'm gonna just get my jump shot up, be more of a wing player, and I'm gonna go that route.
I mean, it's probably not.
It probably wouldn't have worked out for him. I'm glad he did what he did.
Yeah.
But what if he wouldn't have been the Giannis we know? He would have probably been a bust. But since he went that route, it worked out for him. But he could have took another route. Just be like, people starting to shoot more threes and stuff, especially like the era that he came in.
Yeah.
Let me develop my shot and be lean and work on my handle, be a wing player or be more of a stretch player than rather than just like, I'm about to go down here and y'all can't do nothing about it. Like,
right.
That was a choice.
Right.
Rather than, hey,
so who would be the newest one then?
Generation Wemby.
Oh yeah, Wemby. Wemby's just last year. Well, is there any? Well, I guess what my real question should have been was after Steph, but before Wemby. So who?
I'm not really considering Steph a generational talent.
I know he's a generational. I know you're not, but player. I think so because even though you can work on those things, it's just like it's like it ain't even almost. It literally is like genetic. I mean, his dad's a shooter, his brother's a shooter.
Yeah, but
look how just different his shooting is. Like,
I ain't saying some genetics don't play a part, but this from the time I remember, I've been practicing. Like, think about it, it's not like.
But who else could say that? I'm pretty sure everybody that played basketball, especially if you were a guard, you've been shooting ever since you was little. And then look how just different. Like, it's not just.
I mean, he the person that. I mean, like when on that shooting side, like he perfected the craft. Everybody can't say they perfected the craft. Everybody can't even say they put as much time in as he did with the shot.
Nah, I'm sure there's people that.
There's people out there do it, but even when like his work ethic is a thing to this day.
His work ethic.
They say like,
you this the thing about talent. You never gonna reach your fullest potential without putting in the requisite work ethic.
Yeah,
that's why I said that Vince. That's why I'm on the fence with Vince because he never even. It seemed like he never even attempted to reach his fullest potential.
Yeah. Like Gilbert Arenas said, like he was too nice. He was the guy that was like he wasn't really trying to go out there and just like humiliate you.
Right. I mean, like even when we talk about Carmelo, like Carmelo was built just like LeBron coming out. Like he just didn't. He just didn't go the route
as far as just
regular, just like regular. He was regularly just that stout, that big, that strong.
But LeBron was born. Like he was like cut already. Like Melo ain't never had that body.